quite recently, Arsenal have made a foolish decision, and I can almost guarantee they're probably regretting that decision right now. We're also going to be speaking about a decision that Mikel Arteta has to make for this weekend. That is massive. It's causing so much debate amongst the Arsenal fan base, so I thought, why not bring it to you guys, and we can have our thoughts and opinions on it as well. Before we get into it, the video though, do me a quick favour. If you could, please just hit like on this video. So I want to start very quickly by asking you a question about a decision Mikel Arteta has to make for this weekend. And it's a very easy one. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it in a minute. It's just Mikel Merino. If you're given the option, do you start him this weekend against West Ham? Let me know in the comments section. Look, the first thing I wanted to touch on, and it's just very quickly, it is Mika Biereth. And this is a guy that so many of us were excited about. I think I made a video about a year ago saying this guy can save Arsenal a fortune, because when he was kind of coming through, he was having decent loan spells. He seemed to be scoring a lot of goals. But Arsenal decided to sell him on the cheap. And I thought that was an interesting decision at the time, especially at the fee they sold him for. It was minimal. Not much at all. And if you're looking at him this season, I'm sure you guys have seen it in the news recently. He scored a couple of hat-tricks for Monaco. And it's like, this is a big player. And I kind of looked at his stats. He scored 21 goals this season. He scored goals in the Champions League. And Arsenal must be looking at that decision and thinking, we could do with a player like Mika Biereth now. I remember speaking to you guys in the comments, and we was kind of saying, yeah, this season, as in this season now, you could probably start to bring a player like Mika Biereth through. With the players we had at the beginning of the season, the team maybe was slightly congested, but a player like Mika Biereth, I always thought had a bit of a future at Arsenal, and you can see him now in Monaco tearing it up. And it just makes you think, like, wow, if we had a player like that now, he could be banging in goals for Arsenal. Look, we can't cry over spilled milk. It's something I thought was interesting because it flashed up the other day again. Him scored another hat-trick, 2 hat-tricks very recently, and he seems to be on fire. Right, so the decision that Mikel Arteta has to make this weekend, there's a couple of different ways to look at this, the Mikel Merino thing, and it's like, what will Arteta do? Because, look, I mean, straight off the bat, you'll automatically assume that he will put Mikel Merino as a striker. But the kind of counter-argument I'm seeing to that is people saying, well, okay, fair enough. He probably does deserve to start as a striker. And look, if I'm being honest, that's what I would do. But they're saying if you use him in the starting lineup and he's not very effective, you don't have that option to bring off the bench. Like, you don't have that impact. All you'll have in that position is Raheem Sterling to come off the bench. Who, that might not be a bad idea, but I don't think you can have that mind frame, because you're kind of like leaving your best option on the bench just because you hope that he can make an impact when he comes on, when he's probably the better option to just start him anyway. So that's what I would do. I would definitely start him. And I have said recently, look, he's not going to perform unbelievable in every single game. There will come moments or periods of a game where you're looking at him and thinking he's not doing what a centre forward should be doing, and we kind of have to understand, well, yeah, he's not a centre forward. So Mikel Merino, although I think he is the best option, I would still say don't get carried away with Mikel Merino. Don't expect him to score 2 goals in every single game. Look, if he does it, I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. I hope he can score against West Ham. Look, it's going to be a tough game. West Ham have some decent defenders. I just don't see the experiment with Raheem Sterling working as much as, and it's not just me, so many of you guys and Arsenal fans and media people were kind of hoping that the Raheem Sterling scenario would just play out eventually and hopefully he would come good, kind of hoping that Arteta could get his hands on him and do what he done with Havertz. Before Havertz come to Arsenal, he was written off at Chelsea. People were saying he was rubbish. The fans of Chelsea couldn't wait to get him out of their club. He's not 100% satisfied every single Arsenal fan, but I think he's still a valuable member of this Arsenal squad, Havertz, and kind of people were hoping to see that same scenario with Raheem Sterling, get him on loan. Maybe Mikel Arteta can get a bit of a tune out of him, and then, I don't know, maybe you can pick him up for 10 million at the end of the season, and he can be a decent squad addition. As it stands right now, I wouldn't pay 3 or 4 million for Raheem Sterling, and people might say, well, that's kind of harsh, but it's just not the level of player you need to progress to where we need to progress to. Arsenal have got hopes of winning the Premier League, not just this season, but going forward. Champions League. And unfortunately, I don't think a player like Raheem Sterling, as it stands, is good enough to feature in a squad that's battling in those competitions. I don't think he's good enough to play against Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, even like a Napoli or someone like that. There's good teams out there. And look, it's interesting because we're going to find out this week probably who we play in the Champions League next round. Look, so many people are hoping that it's Feyenoord. It could be Feyenoord. If it is Feyenoord, then brilliant. I think Arsenal are a team that most teams would look at and say, right, that's going to be a difficult game. Although we're not performing as well as we did last season, all these teams are still not going to want to face Arsenal. Now, they're probably looking at it and saying, if we're ever going to play Arsenal, this is the perfect time to play them because they got no strikers. Yes, they're very good defensively, but they are lacking up front until they see big Mikel Merino this weekend banging another hat-trick or 2 goals a brace. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting, the Champions League, to see how it will plan out. I mean, let me know who you guys want to play in the Champions League. There's 2 ways that I look at it. Usually with the Champions League, and I was exactly the same last season. You can go back and watch my videos. My mind frame is always, give me the best teams. I don't want an easy route. I don't look at the Champions League and want an easy win. I look at it as the best like cup competition in world football. So if you're going to win it, you need to go on and play those teams. These are the nights that me as an Arsenal fan, when Arsenal were out of the Champions League a few seasons ago, these are the nights that I would have been dreaming of. Give me a Real Madrid. Give me a Bayern Munich. Those are the nights that you remember. Those are the nights that live long in the memory because they're massive games, massive occasions. And it gives you a chance to do something special, to start dreaming about beating a Real Madrid or Bayern Munich to progress to the next round. So whoever it is, good. In the next round, I want an even more difficult team, as long as we've got some players back. And there is some good news in terms of Arsenal injuries as well. The international break is coming up, and apparently both Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli will be available basically after the international break. That is massive news because there's kind of been some rumours floating around about Bukayo Saka maybe having an injury setback. It's not been confirmed yet. I haven't heard it from an official source. I know other Arsenal reporters haven't heard it, or other Arsenal reporters haven't heard it from official sources. That was kind of a bit of a rumour that was floating around online. But to get Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli back after the international break would be massive, because then all of a sudden you've got the option of using Martinelli as a striker, like so many of us have wanted to see. Some people are even saying drop Havertz and play Martinelli as a striker. Martinelli's not been hitting his best form recently, but if you give him a new lease of life and say, look, you're now the centre forward, go and show us what you can do, that would be interesting to me. And then you've got Trossard on the left, who does produce his best workout on the left. And again, that's another reason why I start Mikel Merino as a striker this weekend, because you get the best out of Trossard when he's on that left-hand side. When he's playing as a striker or a false 9, he kind of loses what he's best at. Being down the wing, beating his man, whipping a ball in. Brilliant, perfect for Mikel Merino to get on the end of them balls, as we saw in the game against Leicester. So it's definitely interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. Mika Biereth, did you expect him to be this good? Did you expect Arsenal to be kind of maybe regretting the decision of selling him? And yeah, what's your thoughts on Mikel Merino? Would you start him as a striker, or would you play Sterling and Trossard again up front? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, do me a quick favour. Just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.